It was supposed to be a moment of absolute triumph for Princess Eugenie, a rare public shield from King Charles himself designed to pull her back into the royal fold. But just weeks after Buckingham Palace extended its ultimate protection, an explosive move behind the scenes shattered that fragile peace, leaving the monarch completely blindsided. A quiet fury is now brewing behind closed doors, exposing a hidden battle for the crown that nobody saw coming. To understand exactly what Princess Eugenie did to trigger this palace crisis, and why the real motive changes everything we know about the royal family's future, you'll want to stay with us until the very final second of this video. If you love uncovering the high-stakes secrets and untold drama behind the palace gates, take a quick second to join our community by hitting that subscribe button. We have some incredible stories coming up, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. When the official announcement from Buckingham Palace went public on May 4th, it looked like a calculated victory for a family desperate for a clean slate. Insiders say the king's public celebration of Princess Eugenie's third pregnancy was an intentional, powerful statement. He was publicly putting a protective arm around his niece. It was a rare, highly strategic move designed to act as an emotional shield. For years, the family had been navigating intense public scrutiny and the heavy shadow of past scandals. By stepping forward so warmly, the monarch was signaling to the world that family bonds remained unbroken. He wanted to rewrite the narrative. He wanted to shift the public's focus away from old controversies and toward a bright, unified future. It appeared to be the perfect public relations victory. But this carefully crafted peace wouldn't even last a month. Reports suggest that the mood within the royal household shifted from deep delight to absolute confusion in a matter of weeks. The king's protective gesture was meant to provide cover, allowing his niece to focus on her expanding family and peace. Instead, it seems to have set the stage for an unexpected public appearance that completely caught the palace off guard. Some claim that the timing couldn't have been worse. The administration had spent months trying to present an image of absolute stability and clean public service. Everything was running on a strict, carefully managed timeline. But an independent decision was about to disrupt that entire strategy, proving that even the best-laid palace plans can be completely derailed by a single uncalculated choice. And what happened next would shock everyone as Eugenie stepped directly into forbidden territory. Barely 3 weeks after receiving the ultimate royal blessing, Princess Eugenie did the one thing the palace dreaded most. She stepped directly into the spotlight at a high-profile promotional event in London. The occasion was a launch for Discovery Dunes, an ultra-luxury golfing and real estate development based in Dubai. Instantly, alarms began ringing within the royal administration. On the surface, it looked like a standard luxury gathering. But to seasoned onlookers, this specific appearance carried a heavy, unspoken meaning. For the monarchy, certain locations and industries carry an invisible warning sign. By associating with this specific project, Eugenie was treading on incredibly thin ice. The crowd at the event had no idea that a quiet panic was already building. According to sources, the immediate reaction from royal aides was absolute disbelief. The palace had just spent weeks carefully crafting a narrative of quiet, family-focused stability. Now, those efforts were suddenly overshadowed by the glitz and glamour of high-stakes overseas commerce. Rumors indicate that advisors immediately realized the public relations nightmare unfolding in real time. It wasn't just about a party or a luxury brand. It was about the specific message this appearance sent to the public. And for the king, the optics of this appearance felt entirely too familiar, pointing straight toward a past they have been desperately trying to bury. This wasn't just a simple mistake, it was a devastating psychological trigger that struck at the heart of the monarchy's deepest anxieties. The luxury real estate development in Dubai mirrored the exact brand of international, high-stakes wheeling and dealing that brought ultimate disgrace to her father, the Duke of York. For decades, his relentless pursuit of overseas money, elite golf courses, and wealthy Middle Eastern connections created a storm of controversy. Now, his own daughter was stepping directly into that identical arena. It looked like history repeating itself. To the public, it sent a dangerous signal that the family was reverting to the exact behaviors that previously tarnished their reputation. The real complication, however, was a deep conflict of interest. Eugenie's husband, Jack Brooksbank, is deeply involved in the commercial side of this multi-million-dollar project. He was doing his job, working to build a financial future for their expanding family. But a royal princess is never just a private citizen. By showing up to support his business venture in such a high-profile way, she effectively tangled the crown back up with controversial overseas interests. It is claimed that this sudden alignment completely shattered the protective strategy the king had put in place. The reaction from the top of the family wasn't just disappointment, it was absolute shock, and the personal fallout was about to become incredibly intense. The king felt completely jarred, realizing that his grand gesture of public protection had been answered with a massive public relations setback. To the monarch, it felt like an unforced error that undid weeks of careful damage control. He had just organized a major palace announcement to embrace his niece and shield her from ongoing family scrutiny. Seeing her immediately pivot to a high-profile luxury overseas venture felt like a direct contradiction of that protection. According to sources, the sentiment at the palace was that Eugenie had promptly blotted her copybook. A single evening of promotion had effectively compromised a carefully built wall of royal solidarity. The internal tension began to rise rapidly as officials assessed the damage. It is believed that the king's reaction was deeply personal, far beyond standard administrative frustration. He had extended a metaphorical arm around her shoulder during a deeply sensitive time for the crown. To have that warmth answered by a high-profile reminder of past family scandals was incredibly disheartening. Reports suggest that advisors viewed the move as an unnecessary risk that played right into the hands of critics. The narrative had completely flipped back to the exact topics the palace wanted everyone to forget. This leaves the royal family facing a massive, unspoken dilemma as the summer approaches, with trust completely fractured. The crown is currently operating on its most fragile foundation in modern history, making any rogue association a threat to the entire institution. The monarch is trying to maintain an image of absolute stability, dedication, and clean public service. Every single public appearance by a family member is heavily weighed against this mission. There is absolutely zero room for error. When a prominent royal appears to align with high-stakes foreign luxury interests, it chips away at that carefully constructed foundation. Eugenie now finds herself trapped directly in the middle of a high-stakes family dilemma. She is torn between supporting her husband's career and maintaining the monarch's fragile trust. Her husband is building a private business to secure their future, which is entirely understandable. But for a princess, the line between private life and public duty is completely blurred. Insiders say this clash of priorities has created a deep, unspoken divide that cannot easily be repaired. The palace cannot control private business ventures, but they can control access and official support. Rumors indicate that conversations regarding her future role are becoming increasingly complicated. The trust that took months to build up has vanished in a matter of weeks, which leaves everyone asking what the ultimate cost of this move will be, as a major deadline looms for the family. The ultimate cost of this high-stakes defiance may not be felt in the courtroom, but rather in the quiet, total isolation of the York family. For years, there has been a calculated effort to slowly bring the next generation back into the fold. This recent setback changes everything. It proves that the old patterns are incredibly hard to break. The administration is now facing a major dilemma as a defining summer approaches. Reports suggest that key family members are pushing for an immediate, permanent freeze on any future public roles for those who tread too close to controversial international deals. The lines have been drawn and the grace period is officially over. The arrival of a third child is supposed to be a time of complete peace. Instead, the upcoming birth will take place under an intense cloud of scrutiny and fractured trust. It is claimed that the upcoming arrival will mark a major turning point for how the palace handles its extended members. The monarch simply cannot afford any further disruptions to the institution's public image. Insiders say that certain privileges and invitations are already being quietly reconsidered behind the scenes. The protection that was so generously offered just weeks ago may never be extended again, leaving a deep divide that could last for generations. And as the family prepares for the final, definitive shift, the true question is whether the crown can ever truly escape the shadows of its past. What makes this situation truly fascinating is the impossible choice now resting on the horizon. The crown cannot simply erase the ties of blood, nor can it entirely ignore the public fallout of high-stakes global deal-making. It is a quiet, shifting landscape where a single misstep can instantly undo months of carefully managed solidarity. As the family moves into an entirely new chapter, the lines of trust are being rewritten in real time, proving that the crown's ultimate struggle isn't just about managing its public image, it is about managing its own history. This entire situation shows just how fragile things really are behind the scenes. If you want to stay ahead of the curve as this high-stakes story continues to unfold, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We have some incredible deep dives coming up that you absolutely won't want to miss, and we'd love to have you along for the journey. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the very next video.